Welcome to this edition of the Hoel Roofing and Remodeling Podcast. Today our special guest is Gunner with the Shelby County Boys and Girls Club. And I know you told me your title, but I completely forget, so I'm just going to toss it over to you, do a quick introduction.
Yep, no worries. Like you said, my name is Gunner Speece. I'm with the Boys and Girls Clubs of Shelby County. The title, I'm the Director of Resource Development and Marketing. It's just a fancy term for I'm the head of fundraising and marketing for our clubs. I'm with the county, as I said, but we do have 4 clubs that make up our county of clubs, which is the Shelbyville Club, the Moorestown Club, the Waldron Club, and then as of August of this year, we're going to have the Southwestern Club. So that'll be exciting, you know, being in all county schools in Shelbyville, aside from Triton, but they kind of do their own thing up there. And we do have some hopes for the future, not to get ahead of ourselves, but looking into Decatur County. You know, they have great things going on down there with the YMCA, but they don't have a club.
Okay.
So that's something that's, you know, in the forefront, but we do got to be sure to, you know, take care of what's in front of us right now, which is the addition of the Southwestern Club.
So what is the difference between the YMCA and the Boys and Girls Club?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, we get confused even with Girls Inc. at times and stuff like that. But the YMCA, you know, they're a nonprofit as well, which is great. But they're more focused on, you know, healthy living and active lifestyles for the community. You know, they welcome those of all ages, you know, from kids as we do, all the way up to, you know, seniors. Or actually, the senior services in Shelbyville is located within our YMCA. But, you know, they have some great things going on as far as athletics and programming. They've got the pool and the sauna. But the Boys and Girls Club, you know, it is what it is. You know, boys and girls, it's going back to, you know, the youth. We start at, you know, kids it's pretty much K, so 5 years old, all the way up to, you know, when you graduate at 18 years old. Of course, you're going to have that drop off, you know, in high school and stuff. You start to get your license, get into sports, jobs, girlfriends, boyfriends, you name it. But predominantly, you know, we're serving kids 5 through 12 years old. But, you know, we're seeing kids up to 16 years old. So the main difference would be that they're more on the community, active lifestyles. They're taking care of people of all ages. You know, you pay a membership and go there, whereas the Boys and Girls Clubs, you know, we're serving the youth of, you know, Shelby County. But what we're doing to serve them, I think, is really where we're making, you know, the difference.
So how did you come about this position? You know, why do you enjoy, you know, working with the Boys and Girls Club?
So coming about the position, you know, I went to school and my degree is in business admin. I'm a graduate of, you know, Purdue here in Indiana, and I'm proud of that. And so
All right, cut this. Get him the hell out of here, Adam.
No Purdue fans, I see, huh? Are you?
No.
Okay, that's all right. What are you then?
Kentucky.
Oh, my goodness. I want to go now. But, no, where am I at? I completely even forgot where I was at. You threw me off of it.
You went to Purdue.
Yeah, so I went to Purdue, did business admin, and so this would be my first, I guess, you know, real deal, real job. And I was just, you know, hit the job market, looking around, you know, old Indeed, checking around, asking buddies, friends, see where I could get in at, and things just weren't lining up with what I wanted to do. You know, I had done sales prior. I'd done real estate sales, and then I did commercial sales. I think both are great, but COVID took out my real estate, and insurance just wasn't for me. It just, you know, just not my thing. So when I was looking around, you know, considering my past, sales was the move, but what type of sales? You know, I didn't like the product before. So let's focus on the product and something that I can get behind and make a difference. And that just happened to line up when I was looking for jobs. You know, I hopped on Indeed one day, was searching, you know, for specific roles and keywords, and there was the Boys and Girls Clubs of, you know, Shelby County. And I saw Director of Resource Development. Kind of threw me off, but I saw the and marking at the end of it. I'm like, sounds interesting, worth a click. Clicked on it, read through it. I'm like, well, this sounds exactly what I wanted. And then being in Shelbyville, which is where I'm from, what better way to, you know, get your first job and come back and be able to give back to a community that's given so much to me.
Absolutely.
And especially with youth. I think in today's world, we all know it's, you know, it's crazy. It's only getting crazier. But I think a lot of things could be changed. But the change starts with, I truly believe it. Obviously, I work in youth, but I think it starts with the youth of, our community. And we're serving over 1,000 kids in the county right now. And we always say if we can change one of them, we've made a difference. But we're changing far more than just one of them. And that's how I came about, getting my role. So I see it as, I'm still doing sales, but it's fundraising. The product's changed, the mission, the passion's changed. When I ask now, I don't feel like I'm bothering people.
Right.
You don't always get the yeses like you think you would with a nonprofit, but it's just a different feeling now when I make this ask and when I go into work, and to know that I'm making a difference. And I've never been a person that really thinks about, legacy or leaving your name behind, to be honest. But now that I'm in this role and been able to do this and seen the change that I've made in just, the 11 months that I've now been in this role, it's huge. So I can only imagine, going forward and building off what we are doing right now, what, not myself, but what the kids, can do, what the clubs are going to be able to do. I was already talking about growing, and then most importantly, what the community is going to be able to do, because the community is everything, and that's part of the reason, I've been trying to get out and about, and I'm very thankful for you, Bob. You're over here in Rush County, entertaining a boy from Shelby County, so it's more than appreciated.
Well, and you said this world's let's just say a fucked up place right now.
Absolutely, yeah.
We're just going to call it what it is.
Yeah.
But one of my pet peeves is there's all these people who want to bitch and complain, but are they donating their time? Are they donating their resources, their time, their money? For us, it's so easy for me to get behind youth. We're a big sponsor of 4-H and FFA and all that kind of stuff, you know, and that's kind of where we sponsor the Ramsey education stuff inside schools. That's kind of our give. That's our why. That's where, as a team, me and my wife, we just, and the company, when I say team, the youth is where we're at. Adam is big in his church, we always seem to have at least one or two of our team members coaching sports team, and actually our local Adam, who does the soccer around here for the kids. Yes. So I reached out to them, and they were looking for some sponsors, and I was like, how many? I was like, we'll sponsor a few teams. Right. And I didn't even know, but my production manager, Jonathan, him and his wife I think one's coaching one's age and the other one's coaching the other age.
Well, how about that?
And I, right. So like that's one of our core values is generosity. And I want that. That is a DNA in this business. In our company, that is a DNA. That's part of our DNA. Is that Adam at youth group? Is that Chris? Chris is so good. Chris well, of calling the girl, my wife or Ellie, hey, I'm going to Taco Bell, because the guy pretty much should just own a damn Taco Bell.
I agree.
But still, he calls hey, can I get you lunch? You know what I mean? And so it's fun to see. I mean, heck, to brag on the boys, Nick, Chris, and Cody last year sponsored a Hoel at your guys' fundraising event.
Yeah, it was at
under Hoel Roofing. And
Absolutely.
I didn't even know about it until I got your thank you letter. I didn't even know they were doing it, which, I mean, that makes me excited. That we have, I know Cody has coached Joey's, some of his sports teams and stuff like that. Like I said, that's our DNA as our company.
Right.
And like you said, it's easy to get behind that product and sell it. And I am big on legacy, been part of a mastermind for a few years. And it's just, it's like legacy. What is your legacy? What is our legacy at Hoel Roofing? And that's why I tell the guys, when we're selling a roof job, we're going to be able to get back to Shelbyville Boys and Girls Club. We're giving back to a lot of different things like that. A piece of that goes back to that. And, I always say that, I don't have to have a big building named after me. And I like to see the impact of, little Joey, Cody's little boy, little Kylo, Chris's little boy. By the time this airs, maybe Nick's little boy will be here, maybe not. Taylor, hurry up. No. But, who are they going to influence? From my influence of pouring into their dads. Because that's one thing I'm passionate about. We need to raise men up.
Yep.
We need men to be men. That's what's wrong with this country. And if I can pour into their dads and lead them well, and they can, take something that I taught them and then lead their kids well, then their grandkids that may never know me,
Right.
like, had an impact. My legacy lives through that.
Yeah, talk about legacy, generational wealth, all right there.
I mean, it's just, and it's so much bigger than, like, the old clench hand, clutch, whatever. Like, even a dog knows that.
Right, yeah.
Like that. I'm holding on to my money. I'm holding on to my talents, my gifts. I'm not giving any up. But even a dog understands that means come here.
Yeah.
That means, so no, that's awesome. And it's always fun to see, like, how somebody lands, somewhere. Cause I mean, my roofing story is I was looking for a straight commission sales rep. Me and my wife's huge Dave Ramsey fans. We try to live them principles every day. We got completely out of debt, and I wanted to make the biggest impact as I could for my family. And that's how I got into selling roofing jobs and siding jobs and gutters. And then now we're here, where we're at. So while we're talking about them sponsoring a golf tournament last year, or a hole in the golf tournament, that sounds kind of weird, but okay. Speak a little bit about that, because is that your guys' biggest fundraiser?
So yeah, like he said, last year I hit up Chris, Cody, and Nick, which are some of his great employees and also buddies of mine, and without even letting him know, they generously sponsored a hole. And that was a great thing. So with that happening, I thought, let's take it a next step further. Kind of like Bob was saying, trying to raise men around here. So instead of just using my buddies and trying to go through them, let's go to the boss man and offer up and ask and see what can happen. And here we are. So I'm glad that I did. But as far as the golf outing is concerned, that is our second largest fundraiser of the year. So although it's not first, it's just as important. We have this every single year, usually in about the August or September timeframe. In years past, we've done 2 of them. As mentioned earlier, we have 4 clubs, 3 currently with the 4th on the way. So we've done the golf outing for Shelbyville and for Moorestown, coming back down to the 2. Just with things this year and trying to rebrand with marketing and how things have gone in the past, we've decided to bring it down to 1 and maximize that one event. So this year, yes, we're going to be doing 1. It still benefits Shelbyville. It still benefits Moorestown. But as I work for the county, all kids are important in Shelby County. So that's another reason we brought it back to one thing. It's going to benefit Shelby County. It's going to benefit Shelbyville, Moorestown, Waldron, and Southwestern this year. So it's going to be under one event. It's going to be September 14th. That's a Saturday. We still are taking golfers. We still are taking gender sponsors. That's inside and outside of Shelby County. That's going to be up in Arrowhead Golf Course in Greenfield. I know that sounds odd for a Shelby County, golf outing, and I've had questions about that, so I'll go ahead and talk about that real quick. But, we've tried to work things out. Everybody knows, with business, it's not just as easy as calling somebody up, scheduling something. There's schedules involved, there's finances involved, they have other events, and being a nonprofit, it's more than ever. We spend all this time. We've got to raise as much funds as possible and have to have someone willing to work with us to do that. And there's nothing wrong with Blue Bear and Shelbyville, great golf course. But it just made most sense for us to take it up, about 10 miles north, which to our Moorestown people, that's really just right down the road for them. So I think they're not going to be too unhappy with that. But with that benefits all of our kids. We don't have a set thing it's going back to. Being a nonprofit, we have endless things that we could be raising money for. But one thing I do want to make an emphasis on in general is our food funding. We're serving our kids at all 3 and soon to be 4 clubs food, whether that's before school, after school, and now we're currently in the summer, so during the day we're giving them lunch. Between those 4 clubs right now, only Shelbyville is seeing assistance from the school and from the state when it comes to food funding, thus leaving us with the other 3 clubs to pay out of pocket. Out of pocket means out of our funds that could be, used for something else. So that's been a huge struggle for us. So when I'm out here doing these things like these golf outings, it's ever important that we get the message out, and the people that do have the means, that, we make those asks in hopes that you can be generous and give back through your respective businesses. And if you can't, that's okay, and we understand. But spreading the word, likes and shares and views on social media, it all goes a long way and adds up. But yeah, that's our golf outing. It'll be this year, Saturday, September 14th, Arrowhead Golf Course. All proceeds going to all the youth in Shelby County, boys and girls that go to our clubs. We've got over 1,000 registered members and growing right now. They all need us, and the only way we're able to serve those kids, not only at the level we need to, but to continue to grow and develop the programming, our staff. You name it, the buildings that we're serving the kids in, it all comes through fundraising. So while, a golf outing might not be appealing to everyone, or you hear about these golf outing fundraisers all the time, everybody does them. I've been told that we discussed this year whether we were going to have the golf outing. Everybody does it. We spend so much time on doing it. I love that though, because that just made me want to do this year's that much more.
Right.
So I brought it back down to one. We're going to raise more money than we ever have for the kids, for the clubs, and we're going to prove to why the golf outing should have never been in question. But with growing too, we are going to look into other events outside of our golf outing, and I'm sure we'll talk about it, later on in the show. But our biggest fundraiser too, and being our Winterfest, those are our bread and butter. But we need something else. The bread and butter is kind of getting plain,
right.
And we need to tap into other things. And that's what we're trying to do. But that's the golf outing. But yes, we are still taking golfers, sponsors. If you need any info on it, you can reach out to me. Gunner Speece, 317-476-6262. You can check out any of our pages on Facebook or Instagram regarding Boys and Girls Clubs of Shelby County as well.
What is it limited to a certain number of golfers?
Yeah, so unfortunately it is, and that's only due to, the courses. You can only have so many people for the sake of flow, and then at the end of the day, the golf carts. So that's one challenge, I guess. The only negative I see, other than it not actually being in Shelby County, is in years past, by having two, like last year we had 23 and 21, so we had 44 total teams. This year being there, we can only have 36. But due to that, trying to maximize our efforts, and then also looking at other golf outings and comping things, in years past it was $75 to golf, which is another important thing. This year it's $100 per golfer, or $400 per foursome. But the thing is, that includes your green fee, your cart fee that gets you lunch, a free raffle ticket, a free giveaway, and then your generous donation, which at the end of the day is the reason we should be here. But any type of participation is more than welcome,
What, so do you guys got a silent auction, anything like that to raise money also there?
Yeah, so in years past, we've had the silent auction. And of course, I'm sitting here talking about maximizing fundraising. So you would think, why not keep it? That's another, element to raising more funds. But another thing too, being in a nonprofit, we're always asking for the money, and for a good reason, of course. But what we're trying to do is, even in the smallest ways, other than just like sponsorships and marketing other businesses, is how can we, give back to people and stuff like that. So that is one of the ways that we're going to try to give back this year. Instead of doing just a silent auction where it's just you bidding, everyone that does play will get that free raffle ticket, and you get to put one in to those same silent auction items without having to pay for anything. It was already included. So yeah, you paid for it. They say nothing's free. But for the people that do still want to give back, and another way to maximize that fundraising, we're going to allow for people to buy additional tickets if they want to. Kind of like, when people do raffles, it's going to be more of a, oh, this looks better than this, so let me put 4 of my tickets over here. So we're going to have that. We're going to call it more of a raffle than a silent auction. And then we also do like traditional golf outings. We're going to have our long drive contest on a certain hole. We'll have the closest pin to a certain hole. And then we're added one other thing, which I think is unique this year, which will be a longest putt as well. And those all get, we're still deciding on that, but either some type of award. Sometimes it's a trophy, sometimes it's a gift card, sometimes it's a giveaway. But I think it's all stuff that people definitely enjoy. And then going back to the golfers, we can have 36 teams this year. And so that's 36 foursomes. And it's a scramble style play. And the 4 winners, the same thing. We've decided on the prize. They'll definitely get a trophy, but just looking to give back a little more. We're trying to figure out what could be that second thing to throw in with that trophy. But yeah, that's that for the golf outing.
Awesome. So Go ahead and kind of talk about the other fundraiser while we're talking fundraisers and all that kind of stuff.
Right. So like the golf outing was our second biggest fundraiser. And so our biggest fundraiser of the year, really our bread and butter, is our Winter Fest. So our Winter Fest always takes place in the last weekend or Saturday of January. So this year it'll be the last Saturday in January of 2025. And we kind of use that, it is winter, so it's the Winter Fest, but it's kind of a celebration for that prior year. So we're celebrating everything we've done in 2024. And the cool thing about the Winter Fest is it's everyone. It's, it's people, it's our staff, it's the community that we're living in, and the kids that are coming from, and the people we're asking for money. It's those same generous businesses that are partnering with us. We're all coming together on one night over at Indiana Grand at the Horse Track and Casino. They're generous, and they're always helping us out by giving us a place to host it. This marks year 21. You don't often do things for 21 years and it not be successful. So we're looking to continue to grow and develop that in different ways. As soon as I get done with this golf outing in September, I'm already thinking about it, but the focus immediately, there's no time off. The transition is right back to that Winter Fest. Because we know how important it is, especially when you're looking at, the financial side of things and how much money this thing does bring in and what we have to hit just to even get that, let alone to keep growing as this budget keeps growing in the best way possible, of course. But that Winter Fest, like I said, is hosted at the casino up top in the ballroom. And that's a unique event where it's $200 a ticket. But that gets up to 4 people in. So if you divvy that up wisely, that's $50 a person. Now, when looking at that, I think that's more than fair, because in that $50, that includes your generous donation once again, and that gets you in for unlimited drinks and food. And I know most people can find one of the two that they enjoy, and the food's pretty good. It's served by them. It's light to heavy appetizers. And then as far as the drinks, we have everything from non-alcoholic to the good stuff, depending who you are. And like I said before, that's all free and included. So use that $50 wisely. And then kind of going back, you mentioned earlier silent auctions. That is one thing we will keep and we'll always keep there. That is a thing that people love. I think some people might spend that $200 just to come see what's at the silent auction, because we keep it there live. It's not digital. We've talked about going digital and stuff, but it's all in person. And we get some really, really unique things. Last year, I think we had like 83 different lots of items, from things of local business gift baskets all the way up to a Vespa scooter. Those are the nice Italian, the fancy scooters that Salmon Brothers in Shelbyville sells. So that was a unique thing. Like this year, we're looking to possibly have a car or a motorcycle, something like that.
So what? So is it a silent auction or is it a live auction too?
So it's I kind of jumbled up there. You get me going, and I'm talking, I get excited. So
I love it.
It's a silent auction is what it is, but it's taking place live, so to speak. You don't got the guy going real fast like I am now doing the bids.
Man, you should though. You really
right?
should.
Yeah, it's something that could be a little side gig or something for me. But we do it on paper, so it's the silent auction. We basically have all the lots set up. People get to browse and peruse. The event starts at 7, and we usually end the silent auction about 10:30. I'm big on schedule, so we'll get that taken care of this year. But so it gives you a good 3.5 hours to take a gander, take a look, to get some drinks in you, see if we can get those bids up. Remember, it's for the kids.
Yeah, so. Get them liquored up a little bit, right? So their wallet's a little looser.
There's method to the all the madness that we're doing here, but all in good fun and all going back to those kids. But we do that, and people get to bid, and then and we have everything in between. From we've given away guns, fishing packages, sports tickets, fair tickets, breweries, wineries, St. Elmo's gift cards, people that like bourbon. We had some fancy bourbon. That was a hot thing. I like to drink a little bit. Don't know too much about bourbon, but that was the thing. I was like, goodness gracious, bourbon can bring in some money. And then one other thing, speaking of alcohol, is we have our wine wagon, and male or female. I thought just the ladies enjoyed that wine, but the men tear it up as well. And last year we had more bottles than ever in that wagon, and you get the wagon too. But we had like 97 bottles of wine in there, and that thing went for like $600. And we had some good bottles in there. And if you do the math on that, I think whoever got that, you made a generous donation, but you made outright yourself there. So I was almost jealous in that. But yeah, so we got that. The silent auction takes place. We got the food, the drinks. It's a good spot for people to mingle because at the end of the day, it is a celebration. We have like little side fun things where we had like a photo booth. We do a 50-50, more fundraising, you know. And you know, there's dancing, there's music. We keep it fun. People do get a little rowdy, but that's okay. We're all back to good fun, you know. But that's our Winterfest in a short but, you know, long nutshell.
Awesome. I guess just kind of experience like kind of that one of them feel good stories that just kind of stopped you in your tracks of helping a kid out or something like that, you know.
Well, one thing with that is now, you know, going out and about, even shopping, you know, local Shelbyville, Walmart, or Kroger is, you know, everybody goes out and about, and sometimes you hear your name and who is it? But you can hear you know a kid's voice when you hear it. And there's never a time now where I don't hear a kid's voice and don't at least turn around to acknowledge them. And there's nothing better than seeing a kid and then his parent, who the heck is that guy? And why is he calling him out by name? And then the parent looks and they make a 1-2 and they look back at you, and then it kind of full circle, the connection happens there. So while that's not like a crazy super story, being able to do that, and it's not just one kid, there's multiple kids doing that, and there's more and more, that makes me feel good. Because just to start with that smile, that's huge. We all deserve to have a smile on our face and to be happy no matter what you're doing, no matter your age, your gender, your views, everything. So I think to see that out of a young child, an innocent child, you know, that they're still pure and they don't know what's waiting for them out there. And not that you can't be happy and you still should smile, but it's a lot harder as you get older. And to see, you know, that parent to make that connection. And to make them, you know, I feel like that makes them feel good too. You know, that they're sending their kids somewhere and that outside of that building, they can identify someone and have a positive, you know, connotation or to be able to have that conversation. And there's times too where it's just a hi and a bye. And there's other times too where I step into the aisle and you never know where that conversation goes. And you get to hear about their stories. You know, these are private stories, but it's how it's changed their lives. And while it's important that I have these stories and things are, you know, are changing for me and the better. What about these kids and these families? And that's what's most important to me. So that's my feel good story. It's when I see kids out in public and they're making the identification and it's always positive. It's not you're walking by and there's mean Mr. Gunner. We don't like him. He doesn't talk to us. They're smiling and it's not because of Gunner. It's because of the club. I'm just a part of that club, you know? So that's truly what I enjoy. Or there's certain situations, you know, where you get to know certain kids that are, you know, really going through it. You know, that's the cool thing about the club. We're serving all types of kids, ages, genders, ethnicities, different social backgrounds, economic backgrounds. You know, we've got rich kids there, we've got poor kids there, and we've got the good old middle class in there as well. And there's some people that need it more than others. And there's, you know, especially when I'm out here raising money for specific things or writing grants that are very specific and knowing that, you know, being able to put a backpack on their back or a jacket on their back. You know, one thing we just did is got a new floor in the gym. Whoa, that's for basketball. No, it's much more than just being a basketball. It's a clean, it's a new place. It's something proud for those kids to go and play on, to make memories on. It makes it look nicer for us to be able to host events and to bring people in and to show the club off. You know, it doesn't look like it's still 1970 in there anymore. Like we're coming to the times. So yeah, that's my feel good story is seeing them happy, the smile on their face, lighting it up, and being able to help out all kids, but especially those that I know that truly need it most.
Well, and I mean, I coach youth football, you know, I say a few years ago, but I got a 9-year-old now, so it's been 20 years ago.
Right.
I'll never forget the first kid that called me that needed a new roof on his house. He's like, "Hey, coach." I'm like, "You're not old enough to have a damn house."
Right.
You know, but like you see some of them kids and they still call you coach. It was 20 years ago. But I think back of like my son just started youth football last night. And I think back of McKinney Jones was one of my first football coaches.
Right.
Like, that was 30 years ago. Holy damn.
Don't be going there. Be careful.
But, you know, like, just now that I'm an adult and now I see how much time he put in coaching us for the love of it, for the impact, for not his legacy. That's
Right.
part of his legacy if you want to go back that far. But, you know, that's just so important that there's people that are willing to be in your position or willing to coach. And, you know, yeah, I mean, like you said, like the kids, like one year we didn't win a game, and the kids were always so happy. And it's like, okay, like the innocent, literally I just ran an appointment with one of my sales guys and the guy's grandkids were there and they're, you know, trading, they were hunting bugs is what they were doing. And I just started laughing. I was just like, and I gave Grandpa kudos. I'm like, good job for having them outside, having them playing a game, or, you know, talk about like investing in kids, like shut the TV off, throw the iPhones away,
Just let them be a kid.
bury
again,
the
you know?
iPads, like literally, like I don't know. I'm on this journey the last year and a half of like just it's really like a transformation, and it's like try to see the world through kids' eyes.
Right.
Like you can have a successful business and a successful family, or, you know, work can be, you can have a busy job and stress, but it doesn't have to actually be together. Like stress is separate from the busy schedule or whatever, you know, and it's just, you know, literally like get down there to kids' level and play with them and just listen to their imaginations. I mean, hell, the other day before school was out, my daughter was packing rocks in a book bag. And I said, what are you doing, Reagan? She goes, oh, me and my friends, we're trading rocks today at recess. Trading what? Rocks, Dad. I'm like, okay. You two girls live about 5, 6, 7 miles from each other. Like, the rocks are the same. Okay.
Right.
You know, however, like, she just thought that was the coolest thing ever, you know. So it's just, I mean, your job's not easy, but it's, you believe in it. There's a mission, like, you know, there's passion there, you know, to like invest in kids. Like I was going to try to slow you down there for a second because you just were like, you know, and that's awesome. Like I love it because that'll reflect into them kids. And like, you know, the cool part will be in 20 years when them kids recognize you in the grocery store.
Absolutely.
With their 2 or 3 year old. And, you know, we'll start, you know, telling stories like, hey, he believed in me. He loved me. He gave me a hug. Whatever, you know, whatever that is, like that's like the holy cow, like that's the really
full circle, you know?
really cool moment, you know, for being, you know, for giving back and everything. So you work for the entire county?
Yeah, so that's like the unique thing of it is, so we have the 4 individual clubs. So, you know, it's the Boys and Girls Club, you know, singular of whatever it is. And then I say Boys and Girls Clubs of Shelby County because I am representing all 4 clubs for the county. So think of it as like, you know, the umbrella, and these 4 are under it. My office is at the Shelbyville Club just because that's centralized compared to the county schools. But yeah, I work for the county, so to speak. So we have employees at each individual location, but there's only 2 employees technically that work for the county. And that's our CEO, Scott Spar, and then myself. And Scott, he's a old U.S. Army vet. He's a great guy. Talk about bleeding blue in terms of Boys and Girls Club blue. The passion is there. The heart is there. There's never a question of is his mind in the right place when it comes to those clubs, those kids, and his staff. He actually was the director of the Morristown Club, where he lives still, for like 12 or 13 years. And he was doing his service there, you know, way underpaid, essentially volunteering for way too long. And he made a transformation there. We're proud to say in the 70 years that Shelbyville's been around, there's only been 3 CEOs, and Scott is the 3rd one. And I think that says a lot in itself. But the second one, old John Hartnett, a great guy, and he's very loved in Shelbyville and did a lot of great things for the club prior. When he stepped away, you know, that's a huge role to fill. And Scott has filled that role in the last 4 years, I think, tremendously. He almost had to, as much good as they did in that first, 65, 66, he did have to just adjust to the times. There was some things that were overdue when it came to marketing and, rebranding, and just some strategies stuck in old ways. There's nothing wrong with the old ways. I think a lot of the old ways now, as technology advances, are almost better. I like simple, but there are times, especially in marketing and fundraising, where you do have to adjust because there's so much competition out there. But Scott's doing a great job leading us, and me and him are the 2 county employees. And then between the 4 other clubs, we have roughly 4 full-time and about 30 to 35 part-time, depending how much we get once Southwestern fills up. So not just us, but we definitely have 40 to 45 individuals in Shelby County that are dedicated to these kids, dedicated to not only the present, but their future. And that's another thing kind of taken from Boys and Girls Clubs of America, is one of our many little sayings is great futures. Just that simple. It's great futures. And I want to make sure the kids are happy and they're growing and they're developing and they have whatever the reason is they come there. Some kids still do come there just to play the sports like they did in the old days. But the club, and that's another thing, we can get to down the road here, is I want to stress about what the club is nowadays. It's just not that athletic-based thing where the kid gets dropped off, they rung amok, and they play basketball for as long as they can, and then they go home.
Right.
That's great. Big sports guy here, but that's not exactly what we're about. So, there's a purpose for everything, and I think that the 40 to 45 individuals we have is doing the best job that we've ever done in the 70 years. Everyone that came before us has set this up for us, the foundation. You got to have the foundation to build the house, but the house is far from complete, and we know how that goes. You're in the house contracting business. Even once you get it done, it doesn't stop there.
Right. There's
time for repairs. There's time for upgrades. There's time for, heck, I'm just tired of the way this looks. Time for a change. So you address that as it goes. But right now we're growing, we're rebranding, and we're developing what we have and trying to take it to that next level for these kids.
So, you said that a lot of people think of it as the Boys and Girls Club, drop them off to play basketball. Like, what are some things that maybe you guys do inside the club that the average person, probably even me, don't even know what that opportunity,
right? And that's a great question. That's the $1 million question. If there's honestly anything other than just being able to sit here today and talk with you and spend this time together and to talk about the events, this is probably the most important thing, is what we're doing and why we're doing it. Even when I went there as a child, 15 years ago, it was the same thing. I got dropped off. I ran around. You didn't see anybody but the person in the front office. I played basketball. I played tag. Who knows? Probably got in a little bit of trouble too. But now when the kids getting dropped off, especially after school, it's a lot more structured. We're dividing the kids up, and I think it's a good thing as well. So the kids, kindergartners are doing their own thing. 1 and 2 is doing their own thing. 3 through 5 does their own thing, and then 6 and above. Just in January, we opened a teen and tween center. Just because we're trying to develop the youth. The youth to me goes all the way up to 18. So teens and tweens are just as deserving, and we need to take care of them too. They're going through the whole mental health thing. They're going through the whole life thing. If anything, they've gone through some of the toughest times, because they were just at that age to realize all this stuff. But to get back to, to that original question, we do have all those athletics. That's fun. We do the basketball, we do the football, we do the baseball, the soccer. Another cool thing about sports and being a good old kid is we are the only club in the United States of America that still offers air rifle and archery. So that's a unique thing about our clubs. But to getting to the point of what I'm trying to get at is the big stuff here. We're now giving these kids food and meals. That's awesome to fuel them while they're there, but some of these kids rely on that meal, may it be during the summer or after. We've even had kids talking about stories, making you feel good, but also sad at the same time. We've seen them not stealing, but asking for extra bags of food to take home. We're not going to shut them down, but we ask why. It's for my brother,
right,
who might be 3 years old, but who's not old enough to come to the club yet. Right? Talk about, pulling out your heartstrings there. But so we do the meal stuff. We're doing mental health. Yeah, it's a huge thing in today's world, whether you believe in it or not. I believe in mental health. We've partnered with major hospital over in Shelbyville. We have advocates coming 3 times a week to be on site to observe the kids, and then when things do take place, to be there to immediately treat it. And this is all included in the membership. This isn't extra, cost or anything. So I think that is awesome to be able to offer not only affordable, but essentially free when you're looking at it. So we have the mental health thing. We've added calming centers and rooms. So when these kids are getting, whether they're having a breakdown because they're sad, anxiety, they got mad, they got, an argument, when they're getting talked to at these advocates or they're alone, they have a space to go to. And these spaces they're quiet, they're calm, they're away from the other kids. They don't get made fun of. There's not other influences. We have decorated the room, so to speak, to make it sensory, to engage them, to keep their minds going so they decompress without they're just sitting there thinking about it. They might be just doing a puzzle. Maybe it's some lights. Maybe it's feeling on something, a certain type of texture. And then the third thing we're in the process of working on currently to help round out that is working on securing funding for a therapy dog. So I think that'll be cool. Humans are great. But you know how the difference can be sometimes when there's an adult, even a trained professional trying to talk to a kid. I know most of us, especially pet people, can get behind a cute little dog walking around there. And so we're trying to get that dog. And it's not just to have a cute dog. It is absolutely to have, a part of therapy. I'm looking forward to walking down the hallways and petting him and lighten up my world too. But no, he's really going to be there. He is going to be a service dog. We're going to spend time, money, effort, training to make sure not only that dog, but our staff is, well equipped to keep building this mental health thing. So that's another thing, the food, the mental health, and then talking about, raising men and women, tough people like we used to have. Workforce development, STEM or STEAM even is huge in today's world. I think if you're not getting on that, you're falling behind. I think schools should be doing it. I think any type of educational program that involves youth should be doing it all the way up. And with the STEAM, that's your science, your technology, that's your engineering, that's your arts, that's your mathematics. They added the E in there, so arts is now being included. So we're working on developing that program, and by doing that, that's going to be a focus on doing things from like realistic VR goggles to where you can get on there and you can do simple things like change the oil on a car. You can watch a surgery, like pull a tooth at the dentist. Like it's really good for like contracting and trades, tearing off a roof, putting on a roof, like just little things, how to hammer in a nail, just stuff that like would have been great to know at 5 or 6 years old, let alone like even to be able to see that in high school. We're going to be putting together programs like financial education where we have bankers and finance people come in and put on programs and teach people. Still to this day in high schools, they are not teaching financial education.
Which is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. It's wild to me, and not to get all conspiracy, but I think there's a reason behind that.
Well, they
to
want
be
us
honest.
dumb.
Yeah,
they do.
Yeah.
Like, and I am going to go down a rabbit hole if I'm not careful. But yeah, the government, the politicians, they want us dumb.
And I just don't want us to be.
Speaking of that, if you have a connection with Shelby County, we sponsor the financial literacy in 5 or 6 schools. I've tried to get in Shelby County, and I can't get people to respond back. Like, I'll sponsor the class.
Right.
Like, the money is there. They just got to teach it. So if you do that, because, I mean, that's the whole Dave Ramsey thing. Like, you talk about get me on a rampage. Like, we need that. Like, Andy Fusella says it right. They want us fat. They want us broke. They want us stupid.
Yep. And I agree.
Like, because then they can control us. Here, take this medicine. Here, eat this crappy food that we've put whatever we've wanted because we just processed it in there, So yeah, but on that, like, or anytime I can help on that, like that's an automatic. Yeah, I'll get behind it. Like I'll come in and teach on it if I need to.
Right.
I may get in a fight with a banker because the banker may be like, hey, you need a real high credit score and you need these 6 credit cards and you need a car loan, you need a mortgage. But but yeah, no. In high school, Indiana, I'm pretty confident in saying this has passed a law in the last 6 months or a year that within a few years, every person to graduate from an Indiana high school has to have a financial literacy class.
About time.
I mean, like what insurance they need to buy, what insurance they don't need to buy, But like you said, like they need to know how to change a tire or,
simple life stuff to me at the end of the day is all it is. It's nothing crazy. It doesn't matter your age, your gender, none of that. That's all stuff we should all know no matter where you're at in life.
Yep.
And it's just it's sad that it's taken this long. I didn't hear that, but I hope that's true, and I hope that they go through with that. That should be a part of graduating. Yes. If they expect us to go to the real world and do all this stuff, it's like you can't at least do that. And as far as what you said about them getting back to you, that's part of the game of getting people to respond to you. But no, I'm behind that, a big believer, and if you're more willing to support,
absolutely.
I'll put towards the effort. I promise you that.
I was going to say, because you've got better connections. I joked with Nick and Chris to see if they could get me in, the boys that work for me, and they said they were so bad in high school that if they dropped their name, it'd probably hurt us instead of actually help us. So
that's something to say though about them. They're honest boys. They were a little bit of troublemakers, but it goes to show that it don't matter about your past, and you learn from that past, and you can change because they're great individuals now. And no, that's good stuff.
So, what else can we do to help support, push it out there? I've actually got I've got one friend that I'm going to shoot a text to when I get done and make sure he's supporting you guys. I don't want to call him out on here. He's actually been on my podcast before, but just because and like for us, we're based as Rushville. I graduated from Rushville, but my vision and goal has always been Central Indiana. The rural markets is where we really excel at. We do plenty of work up around Indy and stuff like that, but it's just literally our entire sales team is from Shelbyville. I always joke, I can't hire a sales guy that isn't from Shelbyville.
Right.
And we pull people we've got a young man that lives in Greensburg that works for us. Got a young lady that lives up, technically I think she's still in Hancock, Henry County line up there. So we pull in, from a bigger area. Connorsville, we got a young man that works for us from Connorsville, and we got a few people here still living here in Rushville. So,
right.
But yeah, so I mean, I want to be so much more than just a Rushville contractor. I love my hometown, and I don't step away from that. But it's, I want to serve East Central Indiana because I mean, I just that's the impact. We're working on building the brand in this area that people, when you hear of Hoel, I just want them to think of Hoel Roofing, just that's kind of where we're at. And I want to do as much give back. That's just who me and my wife are. I want, we've done the Dave Ramsey stuff, baby step 7, my friends that are Dave Ramsey fans, it's live and give like no one else. It's being willing to say, yeah, we'll sponsor that. And not even think twice about it. What? I mean, the reason I asked for a feel-good story is just because, with the whole Dave Ramsey stuff, we go visit the classroom as part of it, me and my wife do.
Yeah.
And it's so freaking awesome just to hear kids talk or, hey, I learned this, and now I'm not. There was one young lady in Greenfield the other day that coaching from her teacher and watching the curriculum, she chose a less expensive college that she could pay for instead of a really expensive college that she was going to have to get a bunch of student loans for.
Talk about immediate impact right there.
Yeah, that right there, I'm holy cow, that just changed her family tree. Her kids' lives are different because of that.
And now going forward too. I mean,
and that's just one. I mean, I've had people walk up to me and thank me. I remember them in the class, and it's not about oh, I need that pat on the back. Naturally, we all like that.
Of course.
Naturally, we all have bad days. The shit that business owners go through,
I'm sure
it is nice to, hey, thanks for your support here, or it is nice for us, when I see somebody that we have supported, recommending us, oh my gosh, you can't ask for better people or nicer people, that means a lot, for us. But like I said, generosity, like I said, is a core value. So we want to live that out. Me and my wife went on a Haiti mission trip 9 years ago, a little over 9 years ago. She was pregnant with our oldest. And I remember the guy that ran that said, and then they were in Port-au-Prince. That's I think it's the capital. It's a big metropolitan, or what we would consider a metropolitan area. And their group would go in, and the first thing when they wanted to make an impact in they're just in a neighborhood, drill clean water. That was the first thing they did. And once they got that up and running, then people, But the crazy thing is I had to educate people there on the value of clean water because they didn't understand. They were just getting water that was contaminated over here out of some creek or river that was freaking killing them. And they didn't realize there was clean, free water over here. So that language barrier, like they got to train them on that. And then they build out a school and they build out a church. And that's how they get the impact in the community. So that's one thing that I've tried to be intentional about.
Yeah.
Man, like that's behind our, like, let's go in and help the schools. Let's go in and help the youth. Like, and then let's let that spread, from there. I mean, we're fortunate now. Like I've hired a kid that was at an event in Decatur County that I was speaking at, so now it's kind of cool. Now we're starting to get people applying for jobs that's like, holy cow, like that's a byproduct of it,
Absolutely.
and that gets me on another pet peeve. Everybody wants to complain you can't hire good people. And I'm not saying it's not a challenge, but be a business, be an organization that attracts good people that they can come in and believe in your mission.
Exactly.
Or, how about you go train and love on kids for 5-10 years, and then maybe I'll get lucky enough to hire a few of them,
Right. Yeah.
And just like I said, just like mentor them, that's Jonathan is a production manager. And, I tell him very often, like, hey man, like we're the old guys around here. These kids are looking up to us, and
Absolutely.
Nick and Chris and Cody, they've all got young kids or getting ready to have young kids. Jared, Austin, like literally my entire sales reps, they're all at least 10 years younger than me, So they've been married a year or two or a few years. And, I've been married 13 years. So like I ain't got it figured out, but I know I can mentor and love them. The level of stress and discomfort of having
Absolutely.
little ones, around there
for sure.
But like I said, just at the end of the day, it's about the impact that we can make in the community. And I mean, thank you for your heart, because there's passion there of like, holy cow, like you could be getting a paycheck from somewhere else, or you could treat this job as a paycheck, but you don't. And I mean, that shows through just, with your passion. So we're going to make sure we continue to share the, golf outing now, and we'll be more than happy to help share with the Winter Fest, right?
Yep, it'll be the golf outing and the Winter Fest. That's our two big events, both coming up, and just kind of end her off there. We're taking golfers, we'll take individuals, we'll take businesses. With both those events, you can participate by playing or sponsoring. As far as getting your marketing, getting your money's worth, we're always open to accommodating you. You're the generous person, so the least we can do is try to give back something to you for your generosity. And then, of course, sponsoring's great because you get your name out there, but we still take, whether you're a business or individual, any time of the day, any time of the night, it don't matter when it is. You can make a donation to our clubs, to me, by mailing it to our club, by giving me a ring, by getting our website, of any amount. And I always say this, kind of sounds cheesy, but any dollar can add up. It can help. I don't care if it's $1, $100, $1,000, anywhere in between. Because we've had campaigns in the past. We just got done with one this summer. We raised $18,000 with 60 donors. Shelby County's got 30,000 people.
Right.
Talk about just every one of those person could have gave $1.
Right.
How much more money we could have had. But that's the reality of the situation. And I don't blame them. We're thankful for the 60 people that we did, and we look forward to hopefully earning the support of the rest of the 29,000 in our community. But yes, you guys can get involved in any way. Like I said, Gunner Speece, Director of Resource Development with the Boys and Girls Clubs of Shelby County. Phone number is 317-476-6262. Our website is www.shelbycountybgc, so boygirlclub.com. Reach out about anything. I'm not just here to have conversations about money. I want to make connections. I want to make partnerships. I want to be able to give benefits to other businesses and individuals that are helping us out. And you never know with a conversation, even if you can't help, where you can lead me or I can lead you to helping each other. So thank you, Bob. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Hoel, for having us over here. Thank you for last year's support, this year's support, continuing to support. For those that are not in Shelby County, I understand, your community will come first. But like Bob's saying, I think there's youth, there's impact no matter your cause or want to give, everywhere. And that's especially in central Indiana. Yeah, I'm focused on the kids and the youth of Shelby County, but I care about all kids and youth everywhere. I don't care if it's Rush, Decatur, Hancock, Marion, another state. My goal and focus just happens to have to be on the Shelby County kids. So don't be afraid to reach out if you're not involved here. I think we all know, especially in the contracting business or anybody that has their own business, never hurts to get your name out there as long as you're getting something that's worth your time and money in return.
Well, and I mean, I just want to challenge anybody because, like, we can all give. I mean, somebody maybe it is only $5. Somebody maybe there may be somebody $50,000 that could write that check.
Right.
You know, and that, as you said, that $500 or that $5 donation or that $50,000 donation, like it's all impactful. And you know, it kind of touched me. You talk about the kids, like asking for food for their families because you know. I mean, I've noticed here in the last few years, a lot of schools were still serving lunch during the summers, you know, or having stuff set up.
Absolutely.
And, like, holy cow, like, I grew up, I don't want to say I grew up poor, but we sure weren't middle class. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
But fortunately, you know, there was always a roof over our head and food on our tables, you know.
Right.
So, like, I mean, that does blow my mind that, you know, you have kids that need food, you know, literally within a mile of where you're sitting at right now.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy.
No matter where the hell you're at right now, you know, and that's, you know, that's crazy, you know, that, I mean, it's the truth, unfortunately. You know?
You just never know what someone's going through, how their life is, especially depending on how they appear. You know, you can see someone that looks great and they're happy and they could really be going through it. And you see the guy that looks like he doesn't have, you know, another T-shirt to put on, could be looking dirty, and you know, he could be the happiest man in the world, could have the most money in the world. Yep. But none of that matters at the end of the day, other than I think that as long as people are enjoying their time here on Earth and enjoying their life, there's always going to be bad. You know, not everybody likes to work or, you know, stuff like that. No, you know, none of the we all want the fun stuff and to be happy. And I think we all deserve that. And to say it again, you know, it all goes back to the kids. And there's not just kids, too. Say you don't want to support the kids for some reason. These families are benefited from your donations. These communities that these kids live in, they play in, they're going to reside in, they're going to work in, are all benefited. And like we've been talking about, stories and seeing people and legacy, that's what it's all about. It's all going to come back around, whether it's now and in a month, now and in 20 years. There's impact being made, but I truly believe in the most respectful way possible, there are more resources and there are more donors out there that have the means to give. And if you don't, you have the means to communicate and to speak on the word. And then that's all I ask. You know, spread the word if you can't give. If you can give, great. But if you can spread the word, we all know someone that can give somewhere. And I'm not asking, when I mean give, the hundreds or the thousands, even if it is that couple bucks. Because I promise, with anything, kids, nonprofits, businesses, the world, come together, we're better.
Absolutely. Appreciate your time, sir.
Absolutely, you as well. Thanks, Bob.
Thank you guys for listening to this podcast. And if you can help them out, guys, go help out Shelby County Boys and Girls Clubs. And we're going to have a couple guys over there trying to golf, I hear. So we'll see how that goes. So thank you.
Yep, thank you.